When we talk about football, about joy, about magic, we can't ignore one name: Pelé. The boy who came from the poor neighborhoods of Brazil and became a global symbol of the entire game. But there's a question that has followed him for decades. Why didn't Pelé play in Europe? How could the greatest player in history spend almost his entire career in South America? The story begins in the 1950s. Pelé was just a 17-year-old boy when he won the World Cup with Brazil in 1958. The whole world was amazed by his unique talent. European offers began to pour in, from Real Madrid, Juventus, Manchester United, and even Milan. But Pelé stayed with Santos, the Brazilian club that had embraced him since childhood. The first reason wasn't simple. At that time, Brazil viewed Pelé as a national treasure. In fact, in 1961, Brazilian President Jânio Quadros issued an official decree declaring Pelé a national wealth that cannot be exported. In other words, no European club was allowed to buy him, just like it's forbidden to sell historical artifacts. Brazil was proud to have a player who represented its face before the world. They wanted him to be a symbol of Brazilian identity and a diplomatic tool showing the country's soft power at a time when the world was divided between East and West. But there's another side to the story. Pelé himself wasn't very eager to leave. At Santos, he lived like a king. The club paid him enormous sums compared to that era's standards, and he was surrounded by unmatched fan love. He didn't need Europe to feel greatness. Santos toured the world in exhibition matches, playing against big European clubs, and sometimes defeating them. Pelé would travel to Madrid, Milan, Lisbon, not as a transferred player, but as an honored guest who shook their nets and returned home carried on shoulders. And perhaps, from another angle, Europe wasn't ready for Pelé. In the 1960s, European football was rougher, less open to foreign players, especially those from South America. International transfers weren't easy, nor were contracts as transparent as we know them today. Then came 1974. Pelé announced his retirement from football with Santos. But a year later, he received a different kind of offer. Not from Europe, but from the United States. New York Cosmos wanted him to be an ambassador for American soccer. And there, at the age of 34, Pelé returned to the pitch, not to chase titles, but to spread the game in a country that didn't love it yet. And maybe that's the irony. Pelé didn't need Europe to become a legend. He was the one who made the whole world his field. 3 World Cups, over 1,000 goals, and a name that is only mentioned alongside one word: the King. So when someone asks today, would Pelé have achieved more if he had played in Europe? The simple answer is, Europe is the one that would have achieved more if Pelé had played there. But the real question we ask at the end of this story remains: is greatness measured by where you play or by what you leave in people's hearts?